Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we have another interview with an industry professional. Today I bring to you, from a marketing point of view, Charlotte Parr, who is a marketing executive at QUERCUS at Hachette. Charlotte talks about working with Editorial and how time management is super important. I hope you find it useful and enjoy.
Hello, I'm Charlotte and I am a marketing executive at QUERCUS Books. I work on student and professional books, and my average day looks like I'll come in, I will check my emails, see if I've had any queries come in overnight. I will maybe attend some meetings, go and speak with my colleagues in Editorial about any new projects that they're working on. I will work on processing inspection copies. So inspection copies are free copies of books that we send out to lecturers or instructors to get them to try and add our book onto reading lists for their courses. So that's a very important part of what I do. I might be writing copy for an email campaign, or working on some posts for social media, or pulling reports to see how past campaigns have done. I might be planning for the next season. There's a lot of variety in what I do, depending on what time of year it is, what's going on, how many books we've got publishing. So yeah, and that's definitely one of the things that I really enjoy about working in marketing, is there's such a variety of stuff that we do. I started my career in books about 4 years ago now as a bookseller at my local Waterstones. I looked after the children's section there, which was great fun. I also looked after all our in-store events and any sort of author visits, in-store activities. So I did children's story time once a week, which was so much fun, and looking after social media as well. So that was what really gave me the idea that I might be interested in doing marketing as a career, because I really enjoyed promoting all these events that I was creating, and using different channels in order to get people in. So that was really exciting, and what made me sort of consider marketing as a viable option. And from there I got my first marketing job at Belinda Audio, working mainly with libraries, promoting ebooks and audiobooks, which is really exciting. And since then I've worked on a variety of different products. I started off in audio. I then moved into academic publishing and worked on scientific journals for about a year and a half, and now I'm working still on the academic side, but on books. So yeah, books for students in the creative arts, so fashion, graphic design, architecture, that kind of stuff. So I actually haven't visited the QUERCUS offices, having joined during lockdown, but QUERCUS is based in Carmelite House in London. Prior to that, so before lockdown, I was working for Oxford University Press, based in their offices in the centre of Oxford. And now I've been working from home since March, and this is my home office, as you can see in the background. So working from home definitely has been a challenge. It's really hard, or I find it really hard to separate home life and work life when you're doing both things in the same place. It's tricky, and I'm lucky. I live with my partner, and there's just the two of us here, so we do have a lot more space than than a lot of other people. But it's tricky to navigate having two people working full time at home, and to be able to have your own space, and so that we're not on top of each other all the time. And when I've got calls and he's got calls at the same time, balancing all of that has been tricky. I've liked working from home to an extent. It's nice having a very, very short commute to to my desk, but there is definitely something that I miss about being able to be in an office with the rest of my team. I think working in marketing, we are quite a social bunch. I think because of the nature of what we do, we have to speak to a lot of people, and so it's nice talking to your colleagues in the office. And particularly as I've started a new job, learning my new job virtually has been really weird. I think that's the only way to describe it. It's been very weird. Yeah, it's been challenging, but I think so far I've been getting through it, and work is still going well. I'd say that's definitely the editorial team. We work, as I said before, we work really closely, and our relationship requires a lot of communication and a lot of talking, so that all our projects run on time, and editorial are aware of what I'm doing, in order to promote the books that they create. I spend quite a lot of time in meetings. I work quite closely with editorial, so I have a weekly catch up with our editorial director for student and professional books, where we just keep each other up to date on what we're working on. If we've got any roadblocks, we try and help each other out. I also, on the editorial side, I attend acquisitions meetings, which is, for anyone who doesn't know what an acquisitions meeting is, it's basically where editorial will pitch projects that they're working on, and whether or not, and we give feedback as to on the project, how we think it'll work, what market we think it'll sit in. And those are really exciting meetings, because you see like what's coming through, and what we're going to be publishing in the future, like right at the beginning. So that's exciting. I also have meetings with catch-up meetings with the rest of the marketing team, which are quite informal, really. We talk about what we're working on, what projects we're doing. We brainstorm ideas for campaigns. Yeah, and I really like those, because you can get a different perspective on what you're doing, which is often really, really helpful. The thing I enjoy most about my job is definitely just talking to people. I work with quite a few other departments, and have to talk about all the books that we're doing a lot of the time. So I really enjoy that, and working on new projects, and and discussing with the editorial and sales and my other marketing colleagues, like what the best way to promote our books are. And I then get to go out and speak to lecturers and instructors at universities and tell them why our books are so great. So yeah, that's definitely my favourite part. Biggest challenge that I find with my job is time management. you're often working on a lot of different projects all at once, multiple books with various aspects to all their campaigns, and often a lot of books will publish at a very similar time, so you'll be working on a huge range of books all at once, and you've got to give them all as much love and attention as you possibly can. So for example, for our upcoming season for spring 21, I'm working on around 15 titles, which actually for marketing is actually not a huge number, but because of the nature of what I do, I'm very hands-on with the people that I'm marketing to, which takes a lot of time. So being organised is definitely something that I would recommend to anyone who wants to work in marketing, because you'll have quite a lot on your plate, and it will be fast-paced, which I find really, really exciting and really rewarding. So when I was working at Belinda Audio, I was in charge of doing our campaign for Love Audio Week, which is one of my, as an audio lover, is one of my favourite weeks of the year. It's where we celebrate all things audiobooks. So for us as an audiobook publisher, it was quite important. And as part of that, I got to go to our recording studio in London. So I got to see the inside of a recording studio for one thing, which was really exciting. And I recorded an interview with the narrator of one of our audiobooks, who's the actor Russell Tovey. So I got to find out all about him and what he likes to read, what it's like to narrate audiobooks. And then I went on to promote that across our social channels and share the love of audio. So yeah, that's definitely been one of the more interesting things that I've got to do at work. Time management, definitely. Being able to prioritise what you're working on, and to organise yourself and make sure that everything is done to deadline. We work to quite a lot of deadlines. The good copywriting skills are really important, because if you do, I spend a lot of my time, and have spent in most of my roles, spent quite a lot of time writing copy for emails, for websites, for physical marketing, so for flyers or posters. It's also good, you don't necessarily have to have design skills per se, but I think having a good eye for what looks good in a design, and to be able to communicate that well to the people that you're working with, I think is a good skill to have as a marketer. And to be able to communicate well, you deal with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. So being able to adapt to various situations to clearly put your message across is really key. That's a really, really good skill to have. If I had to give advice, I just say try and take any opportunity that you can. You never know what might become useful in an interview, and there's a lot of stuff that can still be applicable. Don't feel like because you don't have specific experience working as a marketer at a publisher that excludes you. Things like volunteering for organisations, like for example the Society of Young Publishers. I've been on the committee at SYP Oxford for a year as their multimedia officer, and that's given me a lot of skills that I haven't been able to get in my professional life. So that's been really helpful. And even if you don't want to volunteer and be on committee, going to social events and networking, which I know that everybody hates, and everyone hates the word networking, but in publishing it is so important because it's such a small industry and you never know who you might meet who might be able to help or give you an insight. So yeah, try and speak to as many people as possible and ask questions. We love to talk about what we do. We love to talk about publishing. We love to talk about books. So ask away. We're quite happy to have a chat with you about what we do. There is still so much that I don't know about publishing, to be brutally honest. There's a lot of departments that I don't work with, and it's actually only recently that I've learned what happens in a production department. Yeah, that was a revelation, actually finding out what happens in production. Yeah, and I'm excited that there's still so much more to learn about the industry and all the different departments, and all the different companies as well. The way that independents work as opposed to big corporate publishers, everything functions in a very different way. So there's still a lot that I don't know, and I think that's exciting. I think the motto that I try to live by is, if not you, then who? I think that particularly with all the change that's going on in publishing and the change that still needs to happen in publishing around accessibility and diversity, if we all have a bit of an obligation to try and make the industry more open and more accessible. So if you see a gap where someone should be doing something, or you think that something can be opened up, if you're not going to do it, then you shouldn't sit around and wait for someone else. I think that's true in life as well. I think just going out there and grabbing any opportunity that's in front of you, and it can lead to some really, really exciting pathways and places that you didn't necessarily think that you'd end up. Anyone who knows me will not be surprised by my recommendation. I'm a massive fantasy book fan, so my recommendation would be this lovely book here, The Invisible Life of Addie, LaRue, by the amazing V.E. Schwab. It is a beautifully written book with just like characters that you fall in love with, it's about a girl who makes a deal with the darkness and ends up living forever, but is forgotten by everybody that she meets. It's very sad, but also uplifting in a beautiful way.
So thank you for watching Charlotte's interview. I hope you found it useful. Do let me know in the comments section if you did find it useful, and let me know what kind of interviews you want to see in the future.